All right, just in time. You're very welcome along to the football kickoff with Sky. Every Friday we're going to talk about the 5 best games on the telly this weekend, and luckily there only are 5 games on telly this weekend. Delighted to welcome back to the show Stephen Hunt, and Colm Boohig is with us as well. Let's get going.
The football kickoff
with Sky. Watch every single live Premier League game on Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports.
Happy Christmas to you, Stephen Hunt. How are you?
Happy Christmas. I'm very well, thank you.
I love your Christmas jumper. Yeah, you've gone for the good, respectable, solid black version of it.
Yeah, it's reliable, isn't it? It's reliable. There's actually more. The room doesn't do any justice. The family have been working hard at the decoration, so you can't really see what's around me. But they've done a good job, I'm sure.
Do footballers become super into Christmas when they retire because all of a sudden you can actually properly enjoy it?
Massively. I never knew really Christmas until I finished playing football. I was always in that bubble. I think more mentality, is you're always trying to be each game is so important and you want to take it so seriously, so you can't allow yourself to enjoy the times. But I'll have answers for questions on the COVID thing earlier regarding Christmas, but right now Stephen Hunt is looking forward to Christmas for sure.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, you obviously are in contact with a load of your players. What are they feeling about what's happening and the games being called off and not being called off? Would they prefer more games to be called off, or would they prefer, if possible, to keep playing the games? What's your sense from talking to the people who you work with?
I think clarity is important for footballers. They like to zoom in on games and prepare for games, but in my opinion, I think we should play on. Rules and regulations were set out at the start of the year, and footballers, from my point of view now, just want to play games all the time, and if they can get it on, get it on.
We did have a flash poll earlier on. You can still vote on that. Should the Premier League just take a winter break to prevent postponed games? Yes for a winter break, no fire ahead, or Stephen's Day ruined. How would you vote on that, Colm?
No, we need the games because it's so enjoyable for us, the viewer, and I think the players should play on if they can, because there's nothing better than watching football over Christmas and New Year's. There's something special about it. The games are better. They feel better.
Look, if it's safe to continue having the games, then we should definitely have the games. At one point though, Stephen, I think we've all had a look at the games in Germany over the last while, and the ones with no fans, it's not the same. The football doesn't seem to be as crisp, or it doesn't seem to matter as much. Like, I know we kidded ourselves when football went away and it came back behind closed doors. We were like, well, this is better than nothing. It's true, it was. But now, would we not be better off just taking a break rather than playing football behind closed doors as well?
Yeah, I think behind closed doors, when you watch the games, as you say, from Germany during the week, it just didn't feel right. And I don't think any of us want to go back.
No. We'll get back to Stephen in just a second. Our 5 fixtures, as you can see there on the right hand side: Manchester United against Brighton obviously is postponed. Leeds against Arsenal on Saturday at 5:30. That's the kickoff on Sky Sports. Newcastle versus Man City still there after Newcastle beating last night. I wonder how good a Championship manager Eddie Howe is going to be, or if it'll be Eddie Howe indeed at all. So Newcastle Man City kicks off 2:15 on Sunday live on Sky Sports. Spurs against Liverpool on Sunday at 4:30. Also live on Sky Sports. And then it's Arsenal against Brighton in the Women's National League at 6:45 on Sunday evening. So another opportunity for us to see Katie McCabe and how Arsenal have bounced back from their defeat to Chelsea. Last time you were on the show, rather controversial appearance from you, Colm. I can't even remember what the specific nature of the controversy was.
If you can't remember, it must have been that controversial.
You tell me.
I thought the takes were quite standard. I thought they were fair. I thought they were just. And all I was saying was that Declan Rice is a brilliant footballer, which again he justified when West Ham United went to Arsenal. They lost, and he was still probably the best midfielder on the pitch.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's too controversial to give
fair. I think it's fair.
Declan Rice praise these days. Tell me a little bit about what you make of Ralf Rangnick as our resident Manchester United aficionado, fan, expert, booster, and then propagandist. You see the way that
I saw your
cool.
level there.
Good.
But it's a bit like when Joe Biden took over from Donald Trump and everybody kind of breathed a sigh of relief. I'm not comparing Solskjaer to Trump now, but I'm saying the regime, in that the first objective was we got to shore what he happened to be in the role, but we got to shore up shop here. So the 4-2-2-2 has seemingly done that to start with. And the fixtures have been kind enough. There's a bit of a problem that United aren't scoring as many goals as previously were, but it's so much more solid now, and that's what really needed to happen, because for a while there it was embarrassing over a consistent period of time.
So you're not on the Roddy Collins, he's a spoofer school just yet?
No, I don't understand that take at all from Roddy. And I mean, where's the proof that he is a spoofer?
Well, none of the other super clubs have given him an opportunity to work with grown-ups.
Well, his big strength is obviously behind the scenes, and we know he's not in this job long term. So what I'm looking for is actually Rangnick from next summer. And in the meantime, if he can shore up this United defence and United team as a whole, I think it's a job well done. I mean, this season a write-off trophy-wise, really. Top four would be an ambition. And then from next summer we start off.
No, you can't be doing that. You
Oh,
can't,
yeah.
no,
No,
that's
no.
like the perpetual future. We live in the present. There might not even be a season next season. We don't know. You can't be writing off this season.
The present starts next
They're
summer.
still in the Champions League. The Champions League is a weird random competition where Real Madrid managed to win it, where they didn't really have the best, most consistent team. They were certainly able. They had a collection of superstars. I'm not saying they didn't, but you can't be saying no trophies this year. Absolutely not.
I'm saying if there was no trophies this year, which I don't think there will be, I wouldn't be that upset. Because it's a new regime in United, and now we're actually going the right place.
The poor Man United fans have been so beaten and broken ever since Ferguson left.
No,
that you're willing to accept nothing now, no joy.
I discussed with you last January when United went top of the league after beating Burnley at Turf Moor, and I said then I still don't really think Solskjaer is the right man. I still think that we're going the wrong direction. Even though we were top of the league, there was no chance United were going to stay there and win the league. And I'm saying, from medium to long term, United are actually planning for the first time since 2013.
It does appear that way. In fairness, I will concede that to you. However, you have to try and win a trophy this year, and you've got to hope for it.
If we do, great, brilliant.
Okay,
massive bonus.
Who do you want to manage the team then?
Ralf Hasenhüttl. No, I would like Maurizio Pochettino. And I've said that for, I would say, over a year now, maybe 2 years, that I would really love Pochettino at United.
Quick power ranking of who you want to leave in the January transfer window.
United players to
leave.
In
order, yeah.
In order, Anthony Martial, definitely. Jesse Lingard for his own sake. Eric Bailly and Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Right to leave.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, for his own sake, like I'm talking now, if I have an absolute choice to get rid of everyone and then the rest of the squad is staying fit for the rest of the season and we're all good, I think those players can and should go for their own sake.
Would you not also try and swap Pogba for somebody reasonable at any team who will take him?
Yeah, I almost see Pogba's gone now. I mean, he is the second most assists in the Premier League, 7, just behind Salah, who was 9. So it's really impressive statistically, which Pogba always kind of has been. But Pogba's gone mentally. I mean, he doesn't even make the power rankings because he's pretty much gone as it is. If I could get another midfielder in for Pogba in January, make it happen right now, perfect. I think Pogba's gone in the summer. At the very latest, he's gone in the summer.
Well, he's not going to sign a new deal, and so therefore...
Exactly, his pre-contract is open from the 1st of January.
Yeah,
so.
If you're a Manchester United and you can try and convince him to go, look, you tell us who you want to go to and we'll do a deal with them to get somebody off their books, and it's a win-win for everybody.
It's done.
And, you know, you can ascribe whatever value you want, and so therefore the agent can get a percentage based on... maybe, actually, that's not really how it works. It works in salaries and stuff. So I think Stephen Hunt is back. Stephen? Oh, he'll be back. Yeah.
Sorry guys, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, no worries. Dodgy connections. It's happening to all of us. It's the time of year, Stephen. We were just talking about Manchester United there before we get into the fixtures this weekend. What are your early impressions of how Rangnick is going?
Yeah, I think he's come in with an identity that he's always had and hasn't tried to get away from that. Listen, I think United for years have been crying out for someone like him to come in and show a bit of discipline, and it's the modern way of coaching how it's gone, and if players don't feel like the modern day coaches within the squad or within the management team, then they really do struggle to buy into it. And I think now with Rangnick coming in will allow them to realise that they're in a place of they've got no more excuses and they've got to perform, and United boys for sure have to step up and be counted to a certain degree. The one
caveat to everything is that, and we've already just spoken about this, Colm makes the point that he's not there as the manager for the long term. He will be involved long term, but he's not the actual manager. So it'll be very interesting to see how much power they give him to clean up the squad in January, for example. Does he have the power to say, well, these 4 players don't really fit the profile of the players that I want and we can get some money for them, or these 5 players? Would you advocate getting rid of multiple players in that squad to trim it down so you can make it bigger in the summer and in the following transfer windows?
Yeah, January is always a window where if someone needs someone, they'll always pay probably over the top for the current player to value. So I would say that United will look to trim the squad for sure, keep it tight till the end of the season, and then readdress it come the summer. they've got plenty of too much attacking options, in my opinion. The recruitment over the last 2 or 3 years hasn't done a good job in terms of, they could have probably had Declan Rice for a fee in around the realistic fee of 80 to 100 million at the time. Now the way Declan Rice is playing, that's gone up since then. So someone like that would have been massive for him. I think probably might have even saved Solskjaer's job. But I think the recruitment side, they will look to sell some forward players and then maybe trim down other positions slightly. But definitely too many in the forward area.
Yeah, we didn't mention Cavani there. You could definitely see Cavani's not fit ever at the moment.
Spurs is the last time out, I think. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where he was brilliant alongside Ronaldo up front. That would be a great partnership, combined age of 70, but absolutely lethal still.
Maybe you keep somebody like Cavani for the Champions League?
I would 100% keep Cavani. He would never ever be in my power rankings list to go. Keep him as long as possible, because when he's not playing, the worst case scenario is he just doesn't play. And when he does play, it's a massive benefit to the team.
Okay. Stephen, a quick word about Brighton. During the week, Aaron Connolly started for them. Evan Ferguson was on the bench. They've a big crew of young Irish players there as well, so they're kind of important from our perspective as a country. How are they getting on at the moment? I don't know if you've seen any of the under-20. You probably do see quite a bit of the under-23 league. Evan Ferguson apparently is tearing up trees. We like to heap massive expectation on our young players, particularly before they've actually played for the team. Once they start playing for the team, we tear them apart because we're Irish. What's your knowledge and information of Ferguson? What's he like?
Yeah, to be honest, I look after James Furlong, who's a left wing back and a left back at Brighton. So I've seen Evan quite a lot. Listen, Evan is for sure going about his business the right way. May I add that Brighton are managing him in the right way. Yes, he was on the bench during the week. I think that's correct, but they're dropping him in and out of teams. He's still only a young boy. He's not even playing regular 23s nearly all the time. They're taking him out for a break and they're trying to manage him. He's got all the attributes. He's a good size in terms of size, and comes from a good pedigree, and with his dad having played the game, I think he's very level-headed, and he can finish the boy. There's a goal against Northampton. He come on in a checker trade game and picked it up and didn't think twice about shooting from an acute angle, put it like that, and I went straight in the top corner. So he's going the right way. He's, even to me last year, he was probably ready for a loan. That's how I seen him. But if he's going to progress on the Brighton and be high up the ranks there and train him with the first team, then you would say he's in the right place. And one thing I would say, having looked after Carl Rushworth and James Furlong at Brighton, is if they're good enough, they'll play in the first team and they'll have a chance. So, listen, they're learning the trade. Of course they are, and especially Evan. He obviously come with a bit of a rep now, and I know a lot of the big clubs are watching him. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing for him. So, fingers crossed he can keep his head focused on the game. And obviously from his dad and how he's going about it, that he'll have a good chance of making it. Not based on getting carried away, but based on keeping focused and trying to do the right thing for himself.
A quick word about Aaron Connolly as well. He got 60 minutes or so the other night, and that was the first game he started in a while. There's just been a few bits and pieces. He was injured. He was out of the Ireland squad. Obviously there was some kind of disciplinary thing going on that he seems to have come out the other side. But anyway, that to the point where Potter was picking him for a big league game. He seemed to start the game as an out-and-out number 9. And the kind of tip of the spear for Brighton, which might not necessarily be his best position. Or I don't know, Stephen, you again, what do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think there was maybe a couple of COVID cases within the squad as well that allowed Aaron to play, and all you can do is take a chance. And I think you've got to earn the right at Brighton to play in terms of being a good person, training hard, doing the right thing. And I think Aaron Connolly has to do that, and he has to prove to everyone, especially doubters, that he has off the field, that he's good enough to be on the field. And if he does that, then I've no doubt his ability and his position and sense to pick up the ball in good areas will get better for him, and he'll only get better then. But listen, everyone has, the best way of putting it, you have to keep your head down, work hard, and when it goes wrong, you have to really stick together with your team of people around you, whether it's your family or your agent, and really come out the other side. And hopefully Aaron Connolly can do that now and prove to everybody that he is a really good striker, because he is. He can play as a number 9, he can play as a 10, or he can play as 7 or 11. So he's got real adaptability to play games in a modern day formation, and fingers crossed he does that.
Yeah, hopefully he knuckles down.
I was wondering, Stephen, who for you is Ireland's most talented striker these days?
Oh, people laughed at me 2 years ago when I said, listen, these boys need time. They're going to have bumps in the road, and everyone was raving about them. And listen, I've said Adam Ida seems to be the most consistent in his play 2 years ago, not just because he's had a good run for Ireland, but he seems to go about it on a consistent basis of trying to get better, trying to score goals. Again, I was almost disappointed to see him come on for Norwich the other night, because I'd rather see him go on loan and play regular football right now for himself to better himself and better Ireland. Listen, if he's going to play in the Premier League and he plays regularly, then obviously the Premier League is the place to be. But right now, a lot of the strikers that we have need to play more regularly and go from there.
That's good choice.
Yeah, okay.
My local club in Cork.
Very good. The football kick-off with Sky. All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sport. We're here every Friday morning. You can get us on the OTB social channels, and of course you can get us on our podcast network as well. Just a quick question about Ireland before we get into the fixtures in the final 10 minutes of the show, Stephen. The draw has been not kind, not unkind. You know, it's Scotland are going well at the moment. Ukraine have obviously been in tournaments recently. Armenia, we would expect to pick up points home and away against. So what was your take on the draw yesterday for the Nations League for Ireland?
Yeah, again, not particularly easy, not particularly tough if we're going to progress and get better results. Performances have been there for sure, and things have been going well. I don't think you'd be looking at the Scotland game going 6 points for sure. Scotland are a good team these days and are well organised. I'm sure Stephen and the guys would have liked it a tiny bit easier, but haven't had the results over the last year. I'm sure they'd be keen to try and get the points on the board and go from there.
What did you make of it?
Yeah, I was happy enough, because it actually provides Ireland with a great chance of a successful year, a whole year. And I don't know where you stand in the Stephen Kenny reign, but I'm all about it, because we're going backwards if we change again. So give this guy time. He's doing the right things. He's picking the right sides. He's playing the right football. And for the first time in a long, long time, Ireland are actually enjoyable to watch. And I'm looking forward to 2022 because of that draw.
I think that it'd be good to remove all the uncertainty around the contract, so everybody knows that we're all in this together, and we're going to go and we're going to try and qualify for the Euros, however that happens. And when we get to the Euros, we're going to have a good time. I don't know, Stephen, the constant conversations that are around the contract, does that seep into players' minds? Do they think, well, I'm not sure if you're going to be here for the long run, or at international level, is it a bit different?
I think if Ireland were going to get rid of Stephen Kenny and the guys, they would have got rid of him after the last game, and they would have been decisive in their actions and given themselves as long as possible to get the new successor. So I would imagine Stephen and the lads, his team of people he's put together, will be there for the next campaign. And one thing I do know is that if it ever does come up, then there'll be a load of applicants for the job, because I think Stephen has done a good job in the transition of the players in terms of what they're doing to where they are now. When he first came in to what they're doing now, that there's certainly progress. I said it again, it was going to take maybe a couple of years for Stephen to reap the benefit of changing it. And it's not easy as an older footballer to say that, if you know what I mean, in terms of how to go about it. But football changes as a fashion. It'll be different in 10 years' time, and this way of playing won't be the same. And you have to go with it. And footballers like the idea of being on trend and playing the right way. And Stephen has given him that feeling. I think the guys underneath him as well, the guy Barry from Chelsea seems to be very popular. Keith Andrews is a good coach. I know from seeing it first hand when I was just about finished, he was there. So I think the team is good. But results are needed now in the next campaign. That's the biggest thing. And how you get results playing well as well will be key. But I think they've learned how to do that over the last 2 or 3 games, 3 or 4 games. So I'm confident of Stephen taking us forward, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's move on, because we talked a good bit about Man United and Brighton there. Leeds Arsenal kick off at 5:30 on Sky Sports on Saturday evening. These are two teams whose fortunes are diverging at the moment. Leeds are in crisis, but at the same time, again, you can see a team like Leeds and the hierarchy at Leeds panicking a little bit and deciding new coach is going to come in, somebody with experience of a relegation battle, and that's what we need to do. But I don't know, maybe the long term they need to stick with Bielsa and back him. That's my view. Stephen, what do you think?
Oh, listen, I think the speculation of him leaving is very premature, in my opinion. I think they'll stick with Bielsa 100%. He's taken a long way. a good test of character for the Arsenal boys now, having had a tough London derby against West Ham, then having to go to Leeds, where they've just got beat 7-0 by Man City, who will be right up for it, I can tell you. They'll be ready to go. They'll be ready to close down spaces as quick as they always do, playing under Bielsa. And I think Leeds will probably cause an upset at the weekend and beat Arsenal.
Right. That would be the very most stereotypical flaky Arsenal response to everything's going great. We've lanced the boil of the captain ruining the atmosphere, and it's like then we go and get beaten by a team who've just been beaten 7-0.
Well, Arsenal are one of the only teams to be beaten by Everton recently, and they're really flaky on the road. They've lost the last 3 away. Now the other 2 were to Man United and Liverpool, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Leeds rallied here. But they're without 8 first teamers. Junior Firpo added to the list, Jamie Shackleton, Daniel James, already without Calvin Phillips, Patrick Bamford, Rodrigo. So they are struggling down to the bare bones, Harry Redknapp style. But
it is tough,
you still back them to beat Arsenal.
So you're not buying Mikel Arteta's revolution has reached a kind of levelling off point where they can be confident in these young players to actually go and win away games just yet, Stephen?
Not at Ellen Road after being beat 7-0. No, I think Leeds will be right up for it, and I think Bielsa will have them, even if they are, as you say, a lot of injuries. I think they'll be ready to go and give Arsenal. Listen, I think Arsenal are flaky full stop. I think they have a lot of work to be done. I think he is trying to do good work. He'll need time as well, Arteta. They'll need to bring in a striker on a permanent basis. Like I said, for me, is inconsistent. Aubameyang now, I think, will be on his way in January, and so they'll need to replace him as well. So listen, it's an interesting time to be an Arsenal fan, because you're nearly getting excited and you could be let down again on Saturday. So no easy ride for sure.
Who would you pick as Arsenal captain, Stephen?
Tierney, most consistent in his behaviour and his performances. Is a tough lad. They need someone like him. You go back to the Tony Adams, and I don't mean to go back that way in football, but I mean to go back in terms of character and how he goes about his business. I would pick Tierney as captain on a consistent basis.
That's interesting. Who would you pick?
Process of elimination, Tierney, but I look across this Arsenal team and I actually don't know.
Any of the other centre-backs?
I don't, honestly. Maybe Gabriel, he's a good player. But I'm like, they're all good players, you know. Emile Smith-Rowe is one of the best young players in the league. But captain material, like they go for Tony Adams, who 14 years as captain. They've had 11 captains in the last 14 years.
That's a fluke, though, that you have somebody who plays that
I know
long,
that.
you
And,
know,
and the traditional captain that we know of is dying out in terms of bandage around the head, Terry Butcher style. And it's, you know, they're all captains now, and literally Arsenal had 5 captains at one time. But I look across that team and I don't know any player who's going to rip into another player if they make a mistake. But football changes, you know, people don't rip into each other as much anymore.
No.
So Tierney's left over.
On Sunday, Newcastle against Manchester City, Sky Sports 2:15. Manchester City are playing some very good football at the moment, Stephen, and look, we don't know what the COVID situation will be in either dressing room and who might or might not be available, but if Man City click in this game, you would be very, very concerned for Newcastle. And, you know, who knows what's going to happen at Newcastle. But what's your expectation here about the level of performance from Man City that you expect?
Man City probably in third gear, still comfortably win the game, unfortunately, for Newcastle. I watched Newcastle last night, actually, and I think they were a bit unlucky in times against Liverpool, but I just think City are a level above in terms of their consistency, and as you say, if COVID hits Man City, it's going to hit it a lot harder than if it hits Newcastle. So they have a worldwide, world-class talent sitting on the bench in the front positions, and they can change it up and they can change their way of playing any second and change the game. So very difficult for Newcastle. Newcastle just got to hang in there now, stay on the ropes till January and try and bring in reinforcements. They got a difficult run of fixtures. If they can get a point from the game, it would be a massive bonus.
Are you hearing anybody that you think might end up at Newcastle?
Ger, that's for a different day.
Okay, we can do that.
We're working away on that, let's just say. You never know what's around the corner. And listen, everybody is typical kind of football speculation. They'd all want their players to go to Newcastle looking at. But I think Newcastle are trying to do it in a structured way behind the scenes, and they will try and bring in players. But let's just say Messi won't be rolling up at Newcastle. They need some players that are going to graft and get them out of the relegation zone and stay up for now.
The hierarchy at Man United and the hierarchy at Arsenal are like, we have a bunch of players who we'd happily see playing in other jerseys at the moment, who you can take those salaries off us. So
if Dele Alli isn't wearing a Newcastle shirt by the end of the season,
is one of them. Sorry guys, Jesse Lingard is one of them where he could probably go to a higher club, but will Newcastle pull rank and pull out the big bucks to a certain degree to bring him there? Like I'm sure you'll have options of previous clubs and other clubs that are higher up the league if Jesse's going to leave United and go from there. So that would be a good example of what Newcastle are facing and how they try and get players on board. Sorry, guys.
No, very interested to see how that pans out. We only have to wait like 13 days before they can actually start signing players, really. Spurs versus Liverpool on Sky Sports at 4:30. Live commentary and off the ball as well with Nathan and Brian Kerr on News Talk. Liverpool really need to make sure that they just keep pace with Man City when Man City are in the form they're in at the moment, Stephen, and they're obviously capable of doing it. The biggest swing that might happen in the title race, it seems to me, would be the cancelling of the African Cup of Nations, because then Mo Salah won't have to leave. There'll be no quarantine issues. There'll be none of that kind of stuff. So from that perspective, that might be the biggest thing that happens to Liverpool. If this game goes ahead, we know Spurs are obviously riddled with COVID, so you would expect Liverpool to be able to go to Tottenham and win, or is that am I underrating the impact that Conte is having?
No, I think you're spot on. I think Conte is doing a good job. He's come in, he's tried to structure him and get him going. COVID obviously has hit him. Whether COVID has hit him for him to have more time on the training ground to get his team organised, or whether it's genuinely COVID, I don't know, to be honest with you. A bit of both, if you ask me. And I think Liverpool are in flying form. They'll go there in festive spirit with the front three. Firmino coming back as well, now having got minutes last night, and probably rip apart Spurs' back five, if you want to look at it, and really take them to town. Liverpool are just a different level above. They're a machine when it comes to consistency in their performance, and I think they'll beat Spurs at the door on Sunday. Right,
okay. Do you think Harry Kane and the transfer talk is going to disappear now that Conte has arrived?
I think it's disappeared from publicly for sure. I don't think it's disappeared at all mentally from Harry Kane's mind, which is the most important thing. I think he's still a little bit bitter over it from the summer. Very difficult to get over, and I've had past experiences myself when people have gone back at their word in clubs and you think, well, wow, why haven't you let me go, kind of thing, and it's very hard to get over. It's very easy to say from the outside, just get on with it, you're getting paid a lot of money, but if you're got 3-4 years left at the top, for sure Harry Kane only has that. He needs to maximise it, and he said he hasn't maximised it. I think he will definitely leave in the summer and go somewhere else.
He's also a good example to young players about why they need an actual agent in their lives, as opposed to letting a family member negotiate on your behalf, right?
For sure. I think the tactics involved now in a transfer just doesn't happen in a week. It goes on for months and planning ahead. And I think between himself and the next big one will be Declan Rice, because his dad looks after him. So that'll be a question mark how he goes about it. And having negotiated a couple of contracts in West Ham, it's not easy. You have to be on your guard 100%, and trying to get out of West Ham, if it is Declan Rice, then, and if it's your dad, then be prepared, because Mr. Sullivan's a very clever, very cute man, and will go about his business in the best interest of himself and West Ham for sure.
All right, the last game we're going to talk about here, Arsenal against Brighton. It's Katie McCabe versus Megan Connolly in the WSL. Sky Sports Kickoff 6:45pm. Arsenal have bounced back from their cup final defeat.
They're absolutely flying it in the league. Played 9-1, 8-1. They're scoring, I think, 30 goals, conceded just 3. They're terrifying the opposition, and they got real angry after the Wembley defeat, because Chelsea really beat them quite comfortably. Now, they lost midweek in the Champions League, but they still qualified. But league-wise, they're in flying form, whereas Brighton, who they're playing, they've lost the last 2, I think. So it's first against fourth in the league. You can only see an Arsenal victory there, surely.
Stephen, how far away do you think we are from seeing big money transfers in the Women's League? I mean, obviously it's the amount of revenue that the league generates dictates the amount of money that's available to spend on transfers. So we're obviously a good bit behind seeing the massive ones. But when do you actually believe that we're going to start seeing clubs, particularly the clubs who are sister clubs to their male counterparts, realising that there is a market here and that there's money to be made?
Yeah, not too long. The coverage it gets right now is encouraging for the ladies' football. I think from watching it, it's improving as well. I think once you invest time into something, and money and time. It's not just a case of pumping money into it. It's about getting the structure and infrastructure right. And having visited a lot of the training grounds over the last 3 or 4 weeks, you can see what they're putting in place now for the ladies team. Every team now, from Championship to Premier League, are all investing in it, which is important, and the facilities are getting better, which will only improve over time as well. So listen, I think it's going the right direction. For big money transfers, I'm not 100% sure. It might take a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, in terms of to get to League One level in terms of transfer fees. 150 grand is maybe a season away, 2 seasons away.
All right, Stephen, good stuff. Thanks a million for joining us, and happy Christmas to you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Colm.
Stephen Hunt there. The football kickoff with Sky. All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sport. A couple of quick things to talk about. Eric Bailly, all in capitals, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Is he mad? He's far better than Lindelof.
You know,
get him out.
Enda calls a brave mad, isn't he? Writing that from Donegal.
That was Enda. I wasn't sure who that was.
Yeah,
I think that might have been a text. I thought that might have been a comment on the YouTube stream.
Did he comment as well?
I did not. Could have been somebody else.
Literally saying the same thing, word for word.
My point is, I'm not sure it's Enda. You're sure it's Enda?
I'm pretty sure it's
okay.
Enda. I can almost hear him say it. But it could be someone else too. But I think Bailly's a good player, by the way. I just think he should leave for his own sake.
But for Man United's sake, you don't care about the player's sake if you're Ralf Rangnick. All you care about is like trying to win a trophy this year, unlike you. But go on.
No, I just
try and pretend you're not yourself and put yourself in the mind of Rangnick, who desperately just wants one trophy, because then he'll have delivered. Like, it's like,
yeah.
He can literally do the job for the next 15 years for other super clubs.
First of all I do is put myself in Rangnick's position when I say these things. And secondly, trophies doesn't really matter to Rangnick. It's all about improving the club that he goes to. I mean, trophies beside the
trophies
point.
will make him.
If he wins a trophy, he puts it on the LinkedIn, but it's not that important for him. You know, he's a philosopher.
He's money. The philosophers are. Bruce Springsteen just sold everything for 500 million quid. You're telling me Ralf Rangnick and no other, all of his cohorts are purely philosophers, not interested in the cash?
Yeah, it's about making the world a better place than you found it. And when he goes, he'll have done that, football-wise.
Right. I also disagree. Nobody rips into each other anymore. One of the great myths of modern football is that the players don't get mad at each other. I think they've toned down.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, okay, I grew up, my level is Peter Schmeichel absolutely screaming at any shot that was ever on goal, which was over the top. I know, because Roy Keane was, saying that was all for show. So you have that level, and then you go to what we are now. And I know, I'm not saying that nobody speaks to each other, but you definitely don't see fellas get ripped apart if they make a mistake. It's kind of high fives, let's go again. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying football's changed a lot.
Bobby Dwyer on YouTube says Spurs have conceded only 1 goal since Conte's taken over. Spurs have had a game week off. Liverpool playing last night. Spurs weren't. No VVD. Spurs have a chance. No Virgil. Spurs do have a chance, I think, but it's interesting. Hunty thinks no. He thinks they're going to get hammered. Here's our football kickoff five-a-side team this week. It was De Gea versus Sanchez. De Gea wins this one. I mean, I would sell David De Gea now when he's saving again, because he's not genuinely world class as one of those game starters with the ball at his feet. He's a world class shot stopper, but the game has moved on, and you cannot play the same way that City play, or that Liverpool play, or that a load of those clubs are playing, that Arsenal are playing, that Villa are playing. They have better goalkeepers if you want to play the style of football that Ralf Rangnick wants to play in the future.
He's not so bad with his feet that you kick him out of the team. If it wasn't for him, United would have drawn against Norwich.
He's also one of the highest paid players in world football.
What's wrong with that?
Too expensive. But it's too expensive.
Who are you going to get instead? Who's going to be the goalkeeper?
I mean, there are. It turns out there are many goalkeepers out there.
I know that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with De
Gea. But you can cash in on him now that he's not a complete liability again. Llorente versus White. So we stick it back up here. So we have De Gea, White, De Bruyne, Katie McCabe. Who's Katie McCabe up against Megan Conley, an all-Irish year. And then it was Son versus Mane. Son's form, not so good at the moment. But it's obviously being overshadowed by the fact that his teammate can't kick snow off a rope. Paul Compton on Twitter says the Premier League clubs each have 3 teams. No cancellation should be happening. The European rugby has the right idea. Did the European rugby have the right idea? That's very debatable, Paul, right now. Leinster beating 28-0. The French team just decided. The rest of the French team just decided they're not travelling. So, I'm not sure about that. Colm, good stuff. Nothing too controversial today, or was there?
No, I wasn't trying to be controversial. They're just opinions, sir. But, just the football opinions. What we're all here for.
A happy Christmas to you.
And you too. Happy New Year as well.
Yeah. All right. We'll leave it there. Every Friday we talk about the best 5 games on telly, and it is the football kickoff with Sky All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sport. We won't see you next
The
week.
football kickoff.
With Sky. Watch every single live Premier League game on Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports.